Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Today it's Comments Day. I haven't done it for a little while, so Comments episode 54. Can you believe it? 54. Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Yeah, so Comments Day, of course. Wherein I open-heartedly react to your missives, using only truth and words that I say from my mouth. Sophie Win1 says, I have 5 questions and I don't expect you to answer them all. I'll try. What is your personal approach to the audience? What does it consist of? That's such a huge question. Did your stage presence come all at once, or was it something that you developed over time? How did you develop your way of approaching an audience? Were you method acting at first? If so, was there a time when you found that you no longer needed to fake it until you make it? I can condense these into 3 answers, I think. Man, my personal approach to an audience is, I always say this thing about playing live. I think it's like when you come into a live situation, it's all about being in the moment and allowing the rigours and the travails and all the stuff that you've had to go through when you're off stage to fall away, and then just the experience of being on stage is the one thing that matters. And you don't think about the bills you have to pay or the argument you had with your partner or whatever it is. You just focus on being in the moment and reacting to the room. I think when it comes to the audience, I usually find certain pockets or certain people in the crowd that I want to use as anchor points, and I really focus on them. Usually more than one, because I move around a lot, and then just try and get a bit of a vibe going in each of their areas, and usually they intertwine, and by the end of a gig we've got the whole room, hopefully. But there's nothing, it's not as cynical as that really. It's more just about reacting to what's happening. So a good crowd will mean a good show, and vice versa, I think. Which is it's not my fault if it goes wrong, basically. Did your stage presence come all at once, or was it something that you developed over time? I think I was a bit nervous in the first show, a bit less nervous in the second show. By the end of the third show, I remember that my feet were sort of hanging over the edge of the lip of the stage, and I was just really in people's faces and having a great time with it. How did I develop my way of approaching an audience? It's still in development. It's all a work in progress. Otherwise there'd be, I don't know, I'm still learning, really. Were you method acting at first? I sometimes use that expression, method acting, but I use it quite colloquially, really. I don't think I actually went and observed and studied and lived among other rock stars to figure out how they act and stuff. But I definitely recognised that I needed to sort of change my attitude off stage so that it was more convincing on it. So I think there was some seismic personality changes that occurred before we were famous, and that I think directly led to us becoming famous momentarily. And if so, was there a time when you found that you no longer needed to fake it until you make it? Yeah, I mean, it's not really, I don't know if I'd ever describe it as faking it. I think it's more like embracing certain elements of your character that need to be exaggerated in order to do it. I think we've talked about this in the long form a couple of times, actually. But anyway, excellent questions. Thank you very much, Sophie. Alfie Buxton 7054, not to be confused with the other 7,053 Alfie Buxtons. Question for Comments Day. Do you think it's important to listen to the artists that influenced your favourites? For example, if I wanted to write songs like The Darkness, how important is it to listen to Queen and AC/DC? I think it's important to listen to Queen and AC/DC, full stop, because AC/DC created the blueprint for what we call pub rock, and Queen is just the best music. So it's important to listen to those things. I mean, whenever you hear something that's impressive and layered, sonically sophisticated, challenging, or anything that's just exists in the rock realm but also has obviously been influenced by stuff from outside of it. You probably listen to something that's influenced by Queen. They're that omnipotent, influential. I don't know how to describe this. They've covered so much ground, especially in the 70s and 80s. Well, actually, especially in the 70s, I would say, that you could listen to any one of their records and hear 5 or 6 different genres seeping into the rock that they created. And they're the best. They've always been the best. Yeah, I think it's important to listen to those things anyway, just to educate yourself, If you're into rock and you haven't familiarised yourself with Queen and AC/DC, what are you doing? That's what I'm saying. Mr. CTS Steve says, Justin, who were your first bands you got into as an early teen? I can list them for you. The Cult, Cardiacs, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, Queen, AC/DC, Love Hate, Jellyfish, The Doors momentarily, Creedence Clearwater Revival. The list is nearly up to 10. Well, it is actually. 9 Inch Nails as well. I was really into 9 Inch Nails as an early teen. Hope that helps. Nice one. Linda8160 says, I would love to know how you all stay fit since you seem to have reached a certain age. 28. Where most people aren't healthy or good looking anymore. Are your bandmates also vegan? Well, one of my bandmates is just young. That's the whole thing. Do you practice yoga? Or is there any other workout? Well, I'm pretty hands-on. I like to carry the amplifiers in and the guitar cases, and that sort of gives me. That's my core workout, really, is carrying the amps and the guitars. And obviously, I think just being in a band is quite physical anyway. Playing a Les Paul, or an Atkin or whatever I'm happen to be, whatever loaded 6-string I have on my back, it always tends to be. It's a piece of wood, just carrying a piece of wood around. So that's good exercise. There's a lot of jumping and leaping and bounding involved in our performance style. That keeps us healthy. My brother runs a lot. Sometimes I go with him, but not so much recently. I've been focusing on more contemplative practices, which is why I stay so serene. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Age, it affects different people different ways. The whole thing about music is that it's not a real job. So you don't age in the same way that a real job will age you. That's one of the reasons, that's just vanity, but, it's just one of the advantages of having chosen to do something that isn't a real job. It's a preposterous way of life, and people who do it don't look the same as the other ones just because it's, the societal and I suppose environmental influences are different. But anyway, thanks a lot for your question. Maria Francesca says, since you are more interested in the house, understandable, what is your dream house? Would you really live in a glass box on top of a mountain? P.S. I like your retro studio. It looks cozy and personal. Oh, I think you're talking about one of the songs I covered that was in a nice house, right? Good question. I don't know if I'd live in a glass box on top of a mountain. I like mid-century stuff. I really appreciate the sort of 60s and 70s Californian architecture. I like stuff that's made out of concrete. I like all kinds of things. This is original decor from 1966 when this house was built. So it's got that lovely sort of tiki-looking wood cladding. Is it cladding? No, just panelling. And I think this particular room would have been the servants' quarters of the house. But weirdly, it's just got a sink there and no toilet. So I'd imagine they were just going to the toilet in the garden or something like that, and then washing their hands and private parts there, I suppose. Doesn't bear thinking about, does it? But and the water tastes a bit different from that. It doesn't matter. Anyway, my dream house would have been built about 50 to 60 years ago, I think. And then, lovingly renewed to include all of the modern conveniences. Anyway, thanks for your question. It's lovely stuff. Yeah! Justin Hawkins rides again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Watch one of these 2 videos. Join the mailing list and clink the description. Clink the lick in the description to obtain tickets to live Justin Hawkins Rides Again for the first time in the UK. There's all that stuff's there. And join the mailing list. What else should I have said? Oh yeah, keep those comments coming because I enjoy reacting to them, and I hope you enjoy the reactions to the comments that you made in the first place. Yeah, it's symbiotic. So see you on the ice. Nice one. Okay.